Hello everyone, welcome to episode 79 of Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com and every website in the entire world. If you're watching this, you're watching us on a website. Let's just put it that way. Briefly, I'll talk about Breaking Point this past Sunday. No real surprises, I don't think. Legacy finally got the win over DX. John Cena is the WWE Champion once again. And Undertaker got screwed in the main event. It's hard to say who he got screwed by. Was it Punk? Was it the referee? Was it Teddy Long? It'd be interesting to see how it plays out this week on SmackDown. Exactly what happened on Sunday with the whole screw job. They kind of threw Kofi and Miz in there last minute. Kofi retained the title. Jericho and Big Show are still tag team champions. I find it funny that they threw off Dolph Ziggler and John Morrison for the Intercontinental title, and they threw in Miz and Kofi for the U.S. title. I think that was kind of a waste. I think they could have showcased a much better match in Dolph and John Morrison than kind of a throw together between Kofi and Miz. It's really all the noteworthy things that happened. You know, some other stuff happened, but I really don't care. I didn't watch it, to be honest with you. I don't watch every pay-per-view, despite what you guys think. I don't have that kind of money. And I don't want to waste my money on stuff that doesn't look like it's going to be very well done. That's why I get SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Rumble, WrestleMania, and the occasional other pay-per-view. But I probably won't be getting Hell in a Cell, even though I love Hell in a Cell, because I think it's silly, very, very silly, to put more than one Hell in a Cell match on any given pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell is special. I've said this before, and they shouldn't waste that. So probably won't get a pay-per-view till Survivor Series. Anyway, your questions. This is from my buddy J.J. Williams. What do you think of Jeff Hardy getting another DVD when guys like Orton, Jericho, Owen, and others still haven't got one yet? Well, he's not going to get one, as it turns out. Look, according to NoDQ.com, my number one source for wrestling news in this entire world, due to Jeff Hardy's arrest over the weekend, which I'll talk about in just a second, the DVD has been taken off the writing board. Jeff Hardy was arrested over on Friday, the day the show went up. I finally praised the son of a bitch about, going out the right way and going out on top. And what happens? The drugged out son of a bitch has a whole bunch of Vicodin, a whole bunch of Somas, a whole bunch of anabolic steroids in his house. It's like, dude, I give you a break, and then you make me look like a dipshit. It drives me crazy. It sucks that this happened. But he's a screw up. I said this when he came back. He did not deserve to come back. He was a screw up. I said this when he got suspended in 2007. He should not come back. He's a screw up. I was right. Thank you. Yay me. Pat on the back. Barry Horowitz. Yay me. I was right. End of story. And if Matt Hardy doesn't like what I said, if Jericho doesn't like what I said, if anybody on Twitter doesn't like what I said, if everybody's going to be pissed at me for getting on Jeff Hardy's case, I'm sorry. But when I'm right, I'm right. Alright, today's VRQ, video response question, comes from Vic Mackey.
Hey Jeff, here's my question for you. Let's say you're a guy that looks for wrestling talents for WWE or TNA or something. Would you rather have a guy that was so talented in the ring, I mean, he could do anything, but he couldn't talk on a microphone to save his life? Or would you have a guy that was a so-so wrestler, but he could rock the mic? Who would you rather have on your roster? And don't say a little of both or anything like that. I want to know, would you have a mediocre wrestler that's great on the mic, or an awesome wrestler that is not great on the mic?
Can't be wishy-washy with this one, can I, Aaron? Okay. Well, Vic, thank you for the question. To be honest, I'd rather have the cat not play with the blinds. At this point in WWE's or TNA's development, I would... Damn, this is a good question. This is a really good question. I appreciate you making me think. Probably a so-so wrestler who's good on the mic. just because the guy on the mic will sell the tickets, the guy on the mic will bring in the merchandise, the guy on the mic will, make people, good or bad, they'll make you want to come and watch more. You can be a tremendous wrestler and not be the top guy. John Morrison is a tremendous wrestler, a tremendous aerial athletic personality, but you won't see him be the main event yet. Because his mic is so. MVP is great on the mic, and he's a tremendous wrestler. For some reason, he's just now getting to the main event level. Chris Jericho's both. And that's why he's been the main event for so long. That's why he's now he's the top tag team with Big Show. Big Show has always been not the strongest in either category, but he's a big man. He sells tickets that way because he has the big man quality. John Cena, we all, how many of us out there in internet land talk about how much of a crappy wrestler John Cena is? Every single one of us. How many people say Hulk Hogan's such a crappy wrestler? The Rock, all those guys, but they're great on the microphone and they sold the tickets. So I'd rather have a guy who is so-so wrestler, has the basic skills, can wrestle most of the way, but can talk great on the mic than the other way around. Thank you for the question, Vic. Alright, this one is from Greg Cherry, our old buddy from XMV. What is TNA's biggest problem right now? Is it the writers? Is it the wrestlers? Is it the politics? Or is it something else? By watching Victory Road and Hard Justice, TNA robbed their fans of good money for 2 straight pay-per-views by offering a poor lineup and really poor finishes to matches. Well, not many fans, because only 7,000 people bought the anniversary. Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, Greg, to be honest with you. TNA, the writing is a big problem with Russo and his entourage in charge. I mean, it may just be Russo by himself now. Dixie loves Vince Russo. Dixie Carter loves Vince Russo. I don't know why, but she does. So he's going to be in that spot for a long, long time. And that's scary. That's scary. The wrestlers themselves, they have a great schedule. Some of the wrestlers, the Mafia guys and the guys that have been there for a while, they've been around, not TNA, but been around for a while. The Main Event Mafia guys and those guys like that, don't seem to really care too much. Angle still busts his ass, but the rest of them don't really care. Angle still busts his ass when he's in the ring, but the rest of them don't care. Politics, Jeff Jarrett's been out of action for how long? Because of politics and because of drama and because of bullshit. That's a big problem too. And the fans, wrestling fans, WWE fans can't get behind TNA because of all those other problems. They don't see an improvement happening, so they don't want to involve themselves with it. This one is from Mike B. Thanks for answering my question on episode 75. But I got another question. Since at Hard Justice they did put the belt on Matt Morgan, do you think Matt would forget about joining the Main Event Mafia and go to the front line, if they're still calling it that, and leading them, or going back to the promo Sting and AJ did together the other night on Impact, putting it on AJ or another young guy to lead TNA against the Mafia? Thanks, keep up the good work. You're not going to see Matt Morgan be a leader in either faction, be it the Main Event Mafia or the front line. You're going to see him be an enforcer type guy. AJ is the guy to lead the front line. Sting is the guy to lead the front line. Those two guys, Sting is not a TNA original, and yes, he fit in well in the Main Event Mafia, but let's face it, Sting is a much better babyface than he is a heel. He always has been. He always will be. But AJ is the guy of the future. AJ is the one that will lead TNA into the next 10 years, and he should be world champion this year. I predict that. He will be world champion this year. This is from Ricky Wilkinson. Hey Jeff, big fan. Wanted to know your favorite tag team in the WWE and TNA and WCW. For WWE, it's Legacy. For TNA, it's Motor City Machine Guns. And for WCW, it's the NWO. That's his choices. Okay. All-time WWE, WWF favorite tag team. Well, the Outsiders, it's the Outsiders for WCW. For TNA, it's probably AJ and Daniels. Probably them. And for the WWF/WWE all time, I've been watching 19 years. This is give me a minute here. I was very much drawn to the Hart family when I first started watching. They were still the champions. So it's a tie between Brett and Jim and Owen and Davey. This is from Billy Lorenz. Hey Jeff, my favorite pay-per-view is the Royal Rumble, and I think for this year's Royal Rumble, instead of having all the same guys win it every year, that the WWE should go with someone like Morrison or MVP winning it and give them that big push. What do you think? And who are your favorites to win the Rumble this year? Well, as much as I'd like to say, yes, I want to see John Morrison, or yes, I want to see MVP win the Rumble, you're going to have the same. Right now, the main event guys are established. Undertaker, Randy Orton, John Cena, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk. Jeff Hardy, when he was there, was one of those guys as well. Matt Hardy may be one of those guys now. Any of those guys will be the one that will win the Rumble and go on to WrestleMania and challenge for either championship. I would like to see a guy like Morrison win the Rumble, or a guy like MVP win the Royal Rumble. Matt Hardy would be a tremendous boost for all the fans that have stuck with the Hardys for so long. I'll get to the Hardys in a little while. It would be a tremendous boost to them. Any guy, I'd love to see a mid-carder win the Rumble. You haven't seen that in a long time. You don't see that very often, if ever, because the mid-carder guys don't belong winning the Rumble. But I'd like to see it happen. This is from Kevin Daly. Hey Jeff, you never get many indie questions, so I thought I'd ask this. I'm from New Jersey, and I see how many Jersey feds there are. I was wondering if you've heard of Jersey All Pro Wrestling. Many TNA stars have frequented with a lot of the indie guys too. If you have, what do you think of them, and how successful could they be if they ventured out of Jersey and another? Let's see. Well, a lot of these indie feds, when they go out of their market, they don't succeed because they appeal to a particular area, a particular group, a particular niche. Jersey All Pro Wrestling, from what I understand, I've never seen them, but from what I've understood, they have that Northeast feel. So if they were to venture out here, or venture south to Texas, or in the Southeast even, I'm not sure they would appeal to the masses. Jersey All Pro, they are great fed from what I hear. They have a lot of fans, and they're very successful in Jersey. I don't think they would be successful anywhere else, though, outside of the Northeast, New York, New Jersey area. Even maybe in Pennsylvania they could go into there. But like anywhere else, I doubt they would be, the topic. I doubt they would do well. This is from Mike Ford. Now that Chris Masters is back, will he receive any type of push? I'm answering this question now based on what happened with Eugene, because Eugene came back for one night and he was gone like that. Chris Masters, for all they got behind him and all the production value they gave him with the big entrance and the pyro and everything, didn't amount to much the first time. And he ended up being in the tag team with Carlito toward the end, and then they let him go. I don't see him amounting to much more than that. They won't put him back with Carlito. They're on different shows, obviously. But I don't see Chris Masters rising above the challenge that has been laid in front of him now that he's back with WWE, and doing anything more than just being a utility role and being the guy to get a win every once in a while, but mostly job to the main event guys, and that's sad for him. I'm not a big fan of Chris Masters. He's a very nice guy. We met him at UPW, but I don't see him as amounting to anything more than a utility player. I don't. I'm sorry. This is from Riot Z version 1. What are your top 3 feuds in WWF, WWE history? God, a lot of feud questions this week. That's okay. His are in descending order: Brett versus Owen, Austin versus McMahon and the Corporation, and Undertaker versus Mankind. I mentioned WCW versus NWO earlier as a faction feud. That's one of mine. Austin versus McMahon is the one that helped turn the WWF around back in the late 90s, so that's one of mine. And one that doesn't get mentioned very much anymore, but I happen to like it personally. DX versus the Nation of Domination, and then this DX when they call it the Nation. That 5-on-5 feud dominated '98. Besides Austin McMahon, if you want to watch Austin McMahon, you're watching DX versus the Nation. Triple H said himself, DX was the hottest thing in wrestling, not named Stone Cold Steve Austin in '98. DX was the shit. This is from Keith Turner. Are you tired of great women wrestlers jobbing to terrible wrestlers in WWE? I watched SmackDown recently and saw Eve pin Natalya. Eve should not even be in the same ring as Natalya. I think I used to hate watching these women that are terrible wrestlers being put over by women that can do great things in the ring. I hated watching Victoria job to those no-talent divas, and that's why I was thrilled to see her leave for TNA. And at the same token, that's why I felt bad for Gail Kim for coming back to WWE. I think TNA has got the best women wrestlers, except for Sojo Bolt, Charmel, and when she was there, Jenna Maraska. I have to agree with you on the fact that TNA has the better women wrestlers overall, but I'm not sure what to say about the whole wrestlers jobbing to divas thing, because WWE wants to promote not only the great wrestlers but also the attractive-looking divas. And Eve is one of those girls who WWE has gotten their production truck behind, and they really want to do things with her. And for her to beat Natalya was not a surprise to me. It really wasn't. Natalya is now with the Hart Dynasty, and she's probably going to get some sort of push somewhere along the line here and get a shot at one belt or the other. Now, I think the Hart Dynasty is on Raw. They might be on SmackDown. I don't remember which one they're on. I still don't watch a lot of mainstream WWE programming. I don't have time. I got school, kid, everything like that. It's interesting to see the wrestlers job to the divas, but it's nothing new. Victoria left for a very reason like that, so did Molly Holly back in 2005. She left for the very same reason. She didn't want a job to the divas anymore. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want her either. I like both, so I don't have an opinion as far as which is better. I think if WWE has the right look for somebody as a diva and they can train her. I mean, Candice Michelle's a great example. Candice, for all she was a pretty little girl and she was a diva, she trained and she fought Trish Stratus also. Is the best example by far. Trish was a fitness model. She was not a trained wrestler. She went in, she trained her ass off, and she was the 7-time women's champion. She was the host of Raw the other night. Great to see her back. They can be trained. It can be done. It's just a matter of WWE wanting to do that or not. Alright, time for this week's DVD review. I've got a lot of requests for this one, so I'm going to fulfill your wishes. The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. I've only watched this once. Just one time. And if you go off the title, they're going to knock him. That he was a self-destructive personality. And he very much, from what WWE's standpoint is, killed his own self off, character-wise. He just made life miserable for everybody, and the quote on the commercial, I cannot wait to fire him. That was very telling. Warrior held him up for money. He, for me, when I started watching wrestling, Warrior was champion, okay? I didn't get it. I didn't get the whole thing. He talked in spook not spook like. Wow, I just got really racist there. I apologize. He was very spooky. He was very creepy. He was very weird, and talked in tongues, and he was just bizarre. And then he went to the ring, and he sucked. So I don't understand the Warrior. if a lot of the I don't know how many people were appealed to the Warrior. My grandma liked the Warrior. My brother liked the Warrior. My mom kind of appealed to the. My mom was kind of taken in by the Warrior too, and she hates wrestling, but she got the character, I guess. I didn't get it. I would get why some people like him, I suppose, but for me, it was always Hogan. I liked the Tornado when he was there, the Texas Tornado. When he was the Intercontinental Champion. That was when I first started. He was still Intercontinental Champion back then, in his brief reign. God rest his soul. But the Warrior, I never understood, and I watched this DVD and I go, oh, okay, I understand. He's a nut job. It makes sense. Watching everybody do their impressions was funny, and especially Christian. Christian was the best one. But I think that Warrior should have been a little bit more of an adult and contributed and told his own side of his own story. And because this is the same way the Bret Hart DVD would have turned out if it not been for Bret getting involved. Because it would have been screwed, the Bret Hart story, and it would have been a negative piece. Warrior didn't allow for a positive piece, and this is the result. The matches, the one against Honky Tonk Man with 38 seconds, that was probably Warrior's shining moment. The match with Hogan at WrestleMania 6, I can think about it. That was his shining moment because he actually did do a decent match in that match. That was his one decent match, was against Hogan at WrestleMania in 1990. That was the peak of his career. The cage match against Rude was okay. The retirement match against Savage was okay. That was all Savage. Savage carried that match completely. That was one of my favorite matches of Randy's. He carried it. He totally carried it. And the jobber match against Terry Gibbs in '87 on Wrestling Challenge was what it was. I recommend this if you're a Warrior fan, just to see what everybody else thinks of the Warrior and why, and it'll make you question your love of the Warrior. Okay, I recommend it. If you're not a Warrior fan, then buy it also, because you can join in the fun of making fun of them. This is from Michael McGill. What do you think is the best faction versus faction feud? God, there's been so many. I would have to say, in the history of wrestling that I've watched, including stuff I watched on DVD since it happened, because I've caught up on a lot of stuff because I didn't watch a lot of the NWA when I was a kid, and I was too young. I didn't start watching wrestling until I was in 1990, so I've watched old stuff since then. I liked the Horsemen versus the Superpowers. That was a great feud. The Horsemen versus the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, and the Superpowers. That was awesome. But recent times that I've watched, it's very hard to argue against WCW versus the NWO, because it was the entire roster of WCW against this group that, a little group at first, but it grew out of control, obviously. But the original NWO versus WCW was the best feud I ever saw, because it turned WCW's fortunes around and made WCW what it was in 97 and 98, which was the top dog. And if they hadn't killed it, it probably would have continued on and done great things for WCW. Thank you all very much for watching this week. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel of plugs, because at the end of each show, starting this show, we're going to have a little plug screen at the end of every show with episode 79, and from then on in, you're going to see the plugs for MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, and No DQ, and all the other show pages we're on. The email will be there, both emails. The Talk Wrestling and the No DQ email if you want to see No DQ. You're going to see everything, so check out that screen for this episode 79. Again, we're almost at 10,000. We're at like 9,100 or something like that. The subscriber list is flying, and we appreciate that. We're almost there. If we get to 10,000, whoever the 10,000 subscriber is there a way to see who the 10,000 subscriber is? Is there a way to do that? No. Okay. Well, whoever you are, let us know, and if you're lying, then we'll figure it out. But, we appreciate you guys subscribing. We're almost there, so get us there. We'll give you more information on that as the weeks go by, and we'll applaud you. This is episode 79. We'll see you next time in episode 80.